Well, this one comes from a viewer. He had recommended that I watch this interview. Even if he was kind of being like, "Hey, you need to get educated on Palestine," or trying to tell me like it wasn't as exactly clear. It was one of those situations where it's just like I read it once, I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, totally. I will totally check out that video." But then I kind of, upon further reading it, I'm like, is he saying that like I need to watch this to get educated? I don't know. But even if he is, I do not disagree. So I would like to check this out with you guys.
Our next guest is the acclaimed New York Times best-selling author Ta-Nehisi Coates. His new book, The Message, is a trio of interconnected essays that examine how the stories we tell or avoid telling can shape and even distort our reality. In the book, Coates reflects on his emotional first trip to Africa to visit Dakar, Senegal. Then he takes readers to Columbia, South Carolina, where he reports on the attempted banning of one of his books on race. And finally, Coates travels to the Middle East to witness the...
Jeez, that is a jarring difference between every one of those.
Israeli-Palestinian conflict firsthand. Ta-Nehisi Coates, good morning. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
I'm just talking like, geographically.
You say that this book is written specifically for writers, stating that the task for young writers should be nothing less than changing the world. Why do you feel like writers should bear that responsibility?
Saving the world. Saving the world, just to be really specific.
Because their literature is what, it outlives them. So, short answer.
Writing is how we interpret so much of everything that is around us. The Message is a political book. It argues that much of our politics actually happens before we walk into a voting booth, that our choices around us, that who we believe is human, who we don't believe is human, what policies we believe should be in the world, which policies we don't, are actually shaped largely by writing and the stories we tell.
Hold on. No, that's on their end.
And so I believe that writers, and particularly young writers, have so much to do in the politics and in this time when, obviously we have so much conflict and there's so many quote-unquote issues to deal with.
Ta-Nehisi, I want to dive into the
Yeah, you guys heard that squeak, right?
Israel-Palestine section of the book. It's the largest section of the book.
This is CBS Mornings. Ugh.
And I have to say,
Time for a new audio engineer. Sorry.
when I read the book, I imagine if I took your name out of it, took away the awards and the acclaim, took the cover off the book, the publishing house goes away, the content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. And so then I found myself wondering, why does Ta-Nehisi Coates, who I've known for a long time, read his work for a long time, very talented, smart guy, leave out so much? Why leave out that Israel is surrounded by countries that want to eliminate it? Why leave out that Israel deals with terror groups that want to eliminate it? Why not detail anything of the first and the second intifada, the cafe bombings, the bus bombings, the little kids blown to bits? And is it because you just don't believe that Israel, in any condition, has a right to exist?
Did I miss a direct quote?
Well, I would say the perspective that you just outlined, there is no shortage of that perspective in American media. That's the first thing I would say. I am most concerned always with those who don't have a voice, with those who don't have the ability to talk. I have asked repeatedly in my interviews whether there is a single network, mainstream organization in America with a Palestinian American bureau chief or correspondent who actually has a voice to articulate their part of the world. I've been a reporter for 20 years. The reporters of those who believe more sympathetically about Israel and its right to exist don't have a problem getting their voice out. But what I saw in Palestine, what I saw on the West Bank, what I saw in Haifa in Israel, what I saw in the South Hebron Hills, those were the stories that I have not heard. And those were the stories that I was most occupied with. I wrote a 260-page book. It is not a treatise on the entirety of the conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis.
But if you were to read this book, you would be left wondering, why does any of Israel exist? What a horrific place, committing horrific acts on a daily basis. So I think the question is central and key. If Israel has a right to exist, and if your answer is no, then I guess the question becomes, why do the Palestinians have a right to exist? Why do 20...
Weird framing, but yeah, it's actually not a bad question.
different Muslim countries
My
have a
answer
right
is
to
that no
exist?
country in this world establishes its ability to exist through rights. Countries establish their ability to exist through force, as America did. And so I think this question of right to Israel does exist. It's a fact. The question of its right is not a question that I would be faced with any other country.
But you write a book that delegitimizes the pillars of Israel. It seems like an effort to topple the whole building of it. So I come back
Sorry, I'm sitting with that one for a second. That's an interesting take.
to the question, and it's what I struggled with throughout this book. What is it that's so particularly offensive?
Well, okay, just to go back to his point about like force and I guess, he's right.
You about the existence of a Jewish state that is a Jewish safe place and not any of the other states out there?
There's nothing that offends me about a Jewish state. I am offended by the idea of states built on ethnocracy, no matter where they are.
Muslim included.
I would not want a state where any group of people lay down their citizenship rights based on ethnicity. The country of Israel.
I mean, he's kind of trying to lay down a gotcha, but
Israel is a state in which half the population exists on one tier of citizenship, and everybody else that's ruled by Israelis exists on another tier, including Palestinian Israeli citizens. The only people that exist on that first tier are Israeli Jews. Why do we support that? Why is that okay? I'm the child of Jim Crow. I'm the child of people that were born into a country where that was exactly the case, of American apartheid. I walk over there and I walk through the occupied territories and I walk down the street in Hebron. And a guy says to me, I can't walk down the street unless I profess my religion.
Okay.
I'm with another path. No. I want to.
So is there a racial component to that, by the way? Like, I'm just kind of confused about that, because, like, how do they do it just by sight?
It's very, very
It is
important.
It is
Extremely important.
Yeah, let me lay it down.
I'm working with the person that is guiding me is a Palestinian whose father, whose grandfather and grandmother was born in this town. And I have more freedom to walk than he does. He can't ride on certain roads. He can't get water in the same way that Israeli citizens who live less than a mile away from him can. Why is that okay?
Why is that? Why is there no agency in this book for the Palestinians? They exist in your narrative merely as victims of the Israelis, as though they were not offered peace at any juncture, as though they don't have a stake in this as well. What is their role in the lack of a Palestinian?
I have a very, 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 very moral compass about this. And again, perhaps it's because of my ancestry. Either apartheid is right or it's wrong. It's really, really simple. Either what I saw was right or it's wrong. I am, for instance, against the death penalty. What the person did to get the death penalty, it really doesn't matter to me. I don't care if they were selling a nickel bag of marijuana or if they were a serial killer. I am against the death penalty. I am against a state that discriminates against people.
Yeah, but I'm going to stipulate that I feel the exact same way. But there is the understanding part of, like, where people get, like, the John Wick is, like, where they're like, oh, I'm going to go John Wick on this guy. I kind of understand that, because, like, you could even say, like, what would you do if I killed your dog in front of you, kind of thing. Like, I hate to say it, man. I'm pretty sure that my rational brain would be gone at that point.
On the basis of ethnicity. I'm against that. There is nothing the Palestinians could do that would make that okay for me. My book is not based on the hyper-morality
What's the last
of the Palestinian people.
In less than, because many people feel it's complicated. You say it's not complicated. Less than 20 seconds. What's your message?
Less than 20 seconds. I want people
Less than 20 seconds on something that we just said is, some people say it's complicated.
to read the book. And I don't make the assumption that somebody would just read the book and have read nothing else about it.
Okay. You're still invited to High Holidays. I'll see you at the show.
Sorry, the placement. Let's enjoy that for a second. That was also a very kind of awkward ending. Well, I can't really say much without having read the book, because I wish they would have given more context on that, as far as, exactly what was said. Because, I mean, great publicity for the book, though, because now I want to read it. Like, I want to see exactly what he was saying. So I think I will more than likely be doing a follow-up video on this one, but it was kind of interesting that they were trying to do like this gotcha tactic on him, and he did a really good job of avoiding that, and also of articulating his point of specifically what he saw in Gaza and why he feels the way he does. I just feel like the questions I'm asking are just kind of, number one, literally my stupid brain pontificating on it. So it's just going, well, I don't really know much of this. So, like, as I asked earlier, the racial component on how they can just tell, where it's just like, no, don't, you can't come here. But also, like, I have kind of, like, I watched a documentary on this where it was a guy talking about specifically like how he would have to take the train and how he would get around back and forth, because he lived in Gaza, but he had special permissions to go in to Tel Aviv or wherever. But yeah, I kind of feel a little bit less ignorant, But then this does kind of showcase my ignorance a little bit, which I'm not going to pretend that I'm, the smartest person on this fucking planet. So, also, I did smoke a little before I watched this. Probably not the best idea. But real quick, again, I'm going to give him the little plug for what he did on his comic book run. He definitely revolutionized Black Panther as a character. The entire movie is based on that, so I can speak on that, which, hey, oh boy. Sorry. I also am gonna admit that right now, specifically with the way that the war is cooking, it is just, I got like this little pit in my stomach where I'm like, oh god. So when I hear guys talking like that, dipshit, it's, or it's just so, this reads like you're an extremist, again, without any context on exactly what was said, where he's like, oh, just you take your name off the book, and then, this piece of literature here, it just kind of, yeah, would have really appreciated that. But anyway, I really did like watching him kind of own him, though, where he was able to just lay it on me. I'm sorry, that was kind of funny. But anyway, if you enjoyed this content, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers right now. Jeez, I cannot talk today. As I said. So, but yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one.